Let me say something that most people don't dare to. Women don't love you because you're nice. They don't love you because you're sweet. And they definitely don't love you because you're sincere. You did everything for her. You always texted first. You waited for her replies. You cared. You sacrificed. And one day you were replaced by a guy who barely tried. If you've ever been in that place, this video is your wake-up call. Here's the truth. Women don't love logically. They love emotionally. And emotions are triggered by instinct. Today I'll show you the 5 real reasons why a woman falls for a man. Not tricks, not tactics. Just 5 deep states of being that pull a woman in without you chasing. No fluff, no preaching, just the core. Why she chooses you over someone else. Why she misses you, even when there's nothing special. Why she stays when you're not even trying to hold her. If you understand these 5 things, you won't need to learn how to get women. You'll become the man they never want to walk away from. Before we begin, if you're serious about this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I don't need technique, I need presence. Because technique, you can learn in one night. But presence, that's a choice you build every day. Now let's begin. A woman only loves you for these 5 reasons. 1. Presence, the kind that makes her feel small. Picture this familiar scene, a quiet cafe. She walks in, fixing her hair, adjusting her dress, eyes scanning the room, until her gaze lands on you. And in that exact moment, something shifts. She walks slower, smiles softer, her voice quieter. Not because you said anything, but because you're present, in a way most men simply aren't. Real men of presence don't need noise. They sit like a rock in a flowing stream. No one tells them to be strong, yet everyone senses the weight they carry. And here's what most people miss. You do nothing, but she adjusts everything in your presence. Women don't respond to this with logic. They respond with instinct. Biology. A 2003 study from Harvard University, published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, found this. Women are naturally drawn to men who speak slowly, with a deeper tone and steady body language. Why? Because it activates a primal sense of safety in their nervous system. In simpler words, you don't need to speak more. You just need to show up, like you're the one holding the room. Remember, women feel energy, not in a mystical sense, but in how their body responds when they're near you. If you're restless, she becomes alert. If you're rushing, she pulls back. But if you're calm, with grounded eyes and a slow, deliberate pace, she tunes her rhythm to match yours. That's why you've seen it. The bold, outgoing girl, the one who's always loud, always in control, suddenly soften, grow quiet, become gentle. Not because he was cold, but because he wasn't moving at the world's pace. And for the first time, she didn't have to force herself to be seen. She could just be. And that made her feel small, not in weakness, but in awe. A man doesn't become present through appearance, but through the energy that makes others step back just to watch him a little longer. So ask yourself, do you rush when you enter a new space? Do you feel the need to say something to fill silence? Can you hold eye contact when the other person shifts? If your answer is not sure, you may not be present. You may just be hoping to be noticed. Women don't need your words, they need your stillness, so they can finally hear themselves around you. So, when you master presence, you stop trying to make an impression, you become the impression. And when she feels small, in the gravity of your silence, the next thing she looks for isn't your compliments, isn't your attention. She wonders, do you need her? Or are you already living a life she wants to be part of? The power of not needing her. You don't place her at the center of your universe. Have you ever heard this? Women don't fall for the man who lives for them. They fall for the man who lives for something greater and makes them want to be part of it. It may sound harsh, but it's the truth. And it's one of the most common mistakes men make. When they start catching feelings, you've probably been there. You put her above everything. Your job, your friends, even your own goals. And what happened? She started pulling away, growing distant, fading out like she was never really into it at all. If that's familiar, welcome to the truth most wise men learn too late. The more you pedestal her, the lower she sees you. Not because she's cruel, but because instinct never respects a man who's ruled by emotion. Here's the paradox. The more you truly like her, the more you give. The more available you are, the less she needs you. The more you make her your priority, the more she makes you an afterthought. A man with no center will make a woman his center. And when she feels like she's your center, that's when she starts pulling away. But listen, you don't have to be cold. You just need a mission, bigger than her. Something that still drives you the next morning, even if she walks away tonight. Dr. David Buss, author of The Evolution of Desire and professor of evolutionary psychology at the University of Texas, put it this way. Women are drawn long-term to men with clear direction and low emotional dependency because evolution wired them to associate that with safety and survival. In other words, the emotionally independent man is the one worth investing in. She needs to feel this from you. I want you, but I don't need you because I live for something greater than what you and I feel right now. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. Clarity about who you are and what you're here to do. And the irony, the moment you no longer need her, that's when she wants you more. Because a man with a mission has gravity. He doesn't chase attention. He makes others wonder, how do I become part of this man's world? A man driven by women is controlled. A man driven by purpose is pursued. Stoic notes, still wondering why the women who once grew cold start showing interest again the moment you stop caring. It's not a game. It's energy. The shift from needy to grounded, from reactive to directed. And that hits something deep in her survival instinct. She can't explain it. She just feels it. So here's the truth in one line. Don't make her your universe. Show her you already have one that moves. And if she's lucky, she might get pulled into its orbit. And when you don't need, when you're solid, stable, unshaken, the one thing she'll be dying to know is 3. The masculine calm. When you're not ruled by emotion, do you know what truly makes a woman feel safe on an instinctual level? Not money, not promises, not a sculpted body, but this, emotional stability, the ability to stay grounded. When the small things try to shake you. Women live in emotion. They don't hide it, but they're not looking for a man who wobbles with them. They're looking for someone steady so they can relax and be soft. Have you felt this before? She said something to test you. You overreacted, got anxious, argued, spiraled, and just like that, things fell apart. You didn't know what just happened, but the truth is, she was testing your emotional endurance. Ever seen this play out? She throws out a line like, "You're not jealous? What if I hang out with my ex?" And if you're unseasoned, you snap, ask questions, get suspicious, lose control. But if you're solid, you just look at her and smile calm. If that's what you need to feel good, go ahead. I don't control anyone. And in the silence of those next 3 seconds, you own the entire room. Masculine calm isn't about talking less. It's about not letting the outside world control your inner state. According to a 2018 study from the Journal of Personality and Individual Differences, women subconsciously associate emotional control in men with protection, leadership, and safety. Put simply, the cooler your mind stays, when the temperature rises, the more attractive you become. Calmness isn't pretending to be calm. It's being familiar with pressure. You've known chaos, loss, failure. So now, a sharp tone, a strange mood, a loyalty test doesn't move you. Women will test you. They have to. It's how nature wired them. They're asking beneath it all, if I lose control, can you hold the both of us? If you break down, snap, raise your voice. You're just a grown boy. But if you stay still, hold your ground, and respond from depth, she'll feel it in her chest. I can exhale with this man. I can finally rest. A Stoic man doesn't run from emotions. He feels them, but doesn't let them lead, because he knows that fast reactions are instinct, slow responses are strength. And when she sees that you don't flinch at her chaos, she'll stop testing you. She'll start adjusting to keep you. In short, calmness doesn't come from talking less or acting cool. It comes from not needing to control her, because you've already mastered yourself. And when she feels peace beside you, even without sweet words, you've just become more attractive than 90% of men out there. And when she realizes you're not jealous, not competing, not afraid to lose her, that's when the question starts to bloom in her mind. How does he make me feel this special without making it cheap? 4. How you make her feel special without feeling cheap. One of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking, to make her feel special, I have to give a lot, text all the time, compliment often, say yes to everything she wants. So you do all that. And what do you get in return? She starts pulling away. The more affection you show, the more distant she becomes. The more effort you make, the colder she gets. And you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Was I too much? Truth is, you weren't too much. You were just too early, before she felt she had earned it. Women don't want to be worshipped. They want to feel chosen by a man who isn't easily moved. So here's the question. How do you make her feel chosen without being easy? Ever told her things like, you're the one, you're all I need, I've never met anyone like you? Sounds sweet, but honestly, it's cheap, because she hasn't done anything yet, and you've already handed her the crown. She won't argue with those words, but deep down she's thinking, if you say this to me now, how many others have heard it before? True special has value only when it comes from standards, not from scarcity, not from thirst. Picture yourself as a gate, not to lock people out, but to filter who's strong enough to enter. You make her feel special not by chasing her, but by making her feel chosen from your standard, not your hunger. A 2021 study in Psychology Today found women respond more strongly to conditional selection than to unconditional admiration, because it activates the brain's reward center, the same one tied to motivation and behavioral drive. In other words, she won't feel special if winning you is easy. You make her feel special by not chasing, not rushing to flatter, not handing out tickets to your mind just because she's pretty, clever, or good at testing emotions. Instead, you listen closely. You watch how she handles pressure. You notice how she treats others when she doesn't have to perform. And once you silently recognize she's different from the rest, only then you show it through action. No grand speeches, just a look held 1 second longer, a date unannounced but thought through, a silence filled with signal. And in that moment, she feels, I just passed an invisible test and I've been seen. That is what true special feels like. Not because of looks, not because of praise, but because she's earned her place in the world of a man with standards. To sum it up, women don't want to be your everything. They want to be the rare one, strong enough to enter your circle, the one you don't open easily. And special never comes from being easy. It comes from being selective. No matter how stunning she is, no matter how smooth she talks, there will come a moment when the most attractive thing you carry is not your words, not your gifts, but this biological energy, stable, grounded, unshakable. 5. Biological energy. You are calm, stable, unshaken. Here's a truth most men don't know, or they ignore it altogether. Women feel your energy before you ever say a word, not in some mystical, spiritual sense, but in a very real, very biological way. She picks up on things like, do you walk in with grounded posture, or do you stumble? Do you speak in a calm, steady tone, or high-pitched and choppy? Can you hold eye contact in silence, or do your eyes keep darting around? These are biological signals, and her brain is wired to read them instantly. Women don't fall in love through words. They fall through what they feel in their body when they're next to you. You may have never considered this. Even the way you breathe sends signals about your testosterone levels, your nervous system stability, and your ability to hold a situation together. A study published in Nature Human Behavior, 2019, found women are most attracted to men with stable testosterone levels, not spikes, because stability correlates with calm, decisiveness, and the ability to handle social pressure. In other words, men aren't attractive because they're strong. They're attractive because they're centered. You don't need six-pack abs. You don't need to look like a fitness model. You just need to radiate the energy of a man whose nervous system is not hijacked by the outside world. A man who controls his breath, controls the rhythm of the woman standing in front of him. Ask yourself, can you sit still for 5 minutes without touching your phone? Can you slow your speech when others are in a rush? Can you keep your pace, your posture, and your gaze, even when the emotional temperature in the room starts to shift? If yes, you're projecting strong biological energy. If no, you're being pulled by forces you don't even recognize. Women feel this because through thousands of years of evolution, they've learned to survive by reading the energy of men. They don't ask, how much money do you make? Not at first. What they really ask, silently, is, if everything fell apart, would I still be safe next to this man? And the answer doesn't come through words. It comes through how you show up, how you breathe, how you stand, how you hold space in silence. Biological energy can't be faked. You only gain it when you live clean, think clearly, and remain grounded, no matter what happens around you. Women aren't drawn to appearance. They're drawn to the feeling of safety, not the safety of muscles, but the state of the man beside them. Stability is the root of attraction, and you can't be stable if you're still impulsive. And once you've embodied all 5 elements, calm presence, non-neediness, emotional control, refined selectiveness, and stable biological energy, there's only one question left. Do women love you for who you are, or because you're still doing something just to be loved? Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked back and asked yourself, am I trying to make her stay? Or am I living like the kind of man no one ever wants to leave? That's a question every real man needs to stop and answer. Throughout this video, I've shared with you 5 core reasons why women feel drawn to a man, not because of sweet words, not because of tricks or mind games, but because of what's buried deep in your character, your energy, your presence, your sense of direction. If you remember, women are drawn to stillness, the kind of presence that doesn't need noise to be noticed. They don't fall for the man who needs them. They fall for the man already walking his own path. They seek emotional safety so they can be themselves without performing. They only feel special when you don't give that feeling away to just anyone. And they respond to primal attraction, the kind that comes from your biological rhythm, not your words. None of this is something you perform. It's something you understand. Because attraction doesn't come from effort, it comes from alignment. The more grounded you are, the less reactive, the more in rhythm with your own life, the more consistent in action, the more loyal to your values, the more a woman will respect you before she ever falls for you. Remember, a woman doesn't stay because you hold on. She stays because she feels smaller, lighter, safer when she's next to you. A man doesn't need to become someone else to be loved. He just needs to not lose himself when love shows up. If you've ever realized you were too soft, too needy, too easily shaken, it's okay, because from this moment forward, you can start again. Not to chase someone, but to become the kind of man a woman wants to walk into by choice. If something in this video touched something in you, a memory, a lesson, a quiet nod, just drop a like, hit subscribe, and leave a simple comment. I'm not attractive because I try. I'm attractive because I'm grounded. I don't need a long message, just that one line. And I'll know you stayed to the end. And if you want more content like this about inner strength, emotional self-mastery, and understanding women without manipulation, leave your suggestion below. Thank you. And always remember, you don't need to control anyone. You just need to control yourself. And then, the right ones won't walk away. Women don't love you because you try. Not because you say the right things. They love you because you're hard to control. Because you radiate rare energy. Because you are the kind of man who masters himself and doesn't need to master others. Because whoever stays with you chooses to stay. If this message made you pause, made you rethink the way you live, the way you show up, and made you realize, before attracting anyone, you must first anchor yourself, then go ahead, like, subscribe, and drop one final line. I don't need to be chosen. I am the one who chooses.